The member for Algoma, Manitoulin.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is to the Premier. We all know there's huge potential in this province for mining, which will benefit Ontario's and Canada's economy. However, nothing can be done unless the groundwork is laid and done, and if we establish good relationships with our First Nations in Ontario. Industry players, mining companies are at the table. First Nations, Indigenous communities are at the table. Municipalities are at the table. Can the Premier explain to us why his government, just like the Liberal government before him, is not ready to come at the table or prepared to roll up their sleeves and get to work?
Premier.
Sure, Northern Development Mines.
For Energy, Northern Development Mines.
Well, thank you. Just taking that drive with the Premier in and out of beautiful Algoma country, Mr. Speaker, I think it was abundantly clear that this government is at the table, creating extraordinary opportunities for Indigenous communities in Northern Ontario and municipalities to mutually benefit from the resources that we develop and the resources that we share with this country and contribute to our economy and to the global economy. There's no question that this is a great opportunity, Mr. Speaker. There are more Indigenous people employed in mining than any other sector in this country, and although we'd love to see those numbers improve across sectors, we're very proud of the traditions in Northern Ontario that we have. We're committed to developing more mines, Mr. Speaker. Unlike the NDP, who bought in 97% of the time to the more than 380,000 regulations that shut mining down, that shut forestry down, Mr. Speaker, and shut Northern Ontario out of its rightful place to contribute to the economy of this great province. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Start the clock. Supplementary.
Again to the Premier. He, along with the Minister of Energy, Northern Development and Mines and Indigenous Affairs, and I, were up at White River to open up the Heart Gold Sugar Zone mine, right? And let's be clear, the only thing this government did was cut a ribbon there. That was the prime opportunity for this government to acknowledge the lands of the traditional territory of the Pic-Mobert First Nations people. However, neither the Premier nor the Minister took that opportunity or offered that respect. It's hard to think that this government will come to the table fully prepared when they're not willing or even interested in building a trusting relationship with Indigenous people. When the Premier makes statements, and I'll quote, "If I have to hop on that bulldozer myself with Vic on the other one, we're going to start building the roads to get the mining done." Does the Premier believe that Does he really believe that making statements of this kind and jumping on a bulldozer will advance any development in the Ring of Fire with the Indigenous communities that are there or the mining companies?
Minister.
It's a bit of a take on words, Mr. Speaker, but it's true. We were up there to cut the ribbon and to cut tape as recently as a couple of weeks ago when my office had to break through to make sure that Heart Gold could actually open up the project. Isn't that right, through you, Mr. Speaker, to the Premier? Thank goodness that they have a government, as the CEO said, that is open for business and committed to mining in Northern Ontario, Mr. Speaker. And as it goes for the Ring of Fire, this is a tragedy of proportions. For 7 years, it's been bogged down, Mr. Speaker, in the kind of bureaucracy that my meeting with leaders of in the Ring of Fire, in the propinquity of Ring of Fire, have said we need to break through. We're engaged with those communities. We're meeting with those communities. Municipalities and Indigenous communities in that area can look forward to a renewed relationship that delivers results, builds a corridor to prosperity, Mr. Speaker. Unlike the no-digging party, we're going to get our shovels out and our bulldozers up.